Hello everyone, Jay Mullings here from Red Mirror, AKA Wicked Penman. Today's topic is something I wanted to talk about for quite some time really. I guess it's something that I've been noticing that we seem to be stepping away from. And that thing essentially is being able to be yourself, like your authentic self at all times. I've seen a few things on Twitter, LinkedIn, even on Instagram that almost made me sad really. Remember the first thing I saw, which was people in the workplace, especially black women, are not allowed to be introverts, expecting them to be, kind of chirpy on cue or energetic on cue, which I think is a bit sad, because if that's not really who you are, then why should you have to do that? Why can't you just quietly get along with the job you're there to do? Not every day, I hate myself to say this, but not every day be, oh hi, you're all right. Like it's not natural to some people. There are some people who are genuinely extroverted, energetic, sociable on those kind of levels. But then ask yourself, the main question that I find is getting lost is the person competent and capable of doing the job? Yes. Do they necessarily entertain and engage in every kind of conversation? No. Is that something to work on? Not really if it's just office gossip, but if it's like they're not participating in meetings and in boardrooms and all of these things, fine. But even then, could it be that there are people that think better alone in quiet spaces and then come up with ideas, who would like to reflect and read what's going on in the room before coming back? Why are these questions not being asked and taken into consideration? Why is it something must be wrong with this person because they haven't approached you or they haven't given you the energy that you want? What about what they want? So that kind of made me sad. A second thing I saw was, I guess you can't really escape Gary Vee's content. Everywhere you turn, he's there somewhere. It's like if he's not on Twitter, it's on YouTube. If it's not on YouTube, it's on LinkedIn. And he was talking about basically, well, for a start, he was talking about his parents and how they kind of raised them. One was to have self-esteem. So his mother was like his champion at all times, which sort of reminds me of my grandma. And then his father was like the opposite, which is, look, be honest or else. Like, that sort of, again, reminded me of my granddad. But then there was another post that he posted that I thought was quite interesting. And it was to basically say whatever you want and express how you feel, even if it's to your boss, even if it's that you didn't necessarily like something. Now, this is where my issue has been, especially on LinkedIn lately, is I'll see a post, I'll see content, and I'll just try and add something to that content, whether it's a point of view that I thought was missed, or just like playing devil's advocate, just, stirring the pot of conversation to say, oh, what about if this happens in this scenario, what would you say then? And the kind of responses that I've been getting have been so negative and just so uncalled for that I was like, I almost like had to take a step back and wonder, like, was I doing something wrong? Like, was I the issue? Was it me? Like, should I just have not said anything? But then I'm like, that's not who I am. If I have something to say or contribute, I will contribute that. Unless you're someone I don't like. If you're someone I don't like, I will stay the hell away from you. I won't go out of my way to interact with you. I'm not that kind of person. It didn't hurt my feelings, but I just was like, why? What was the point of this? Like, why did this have to happen and go down like this? So I think that's the second thing. And then on Instagram, again, I see posts about almost like people who are alienated from their friendship groups for being introvert and for preferring quiet spaces over the turn up and the whole heap of noise and chaos. And I thought that was quite sad, because every friendship group should have a balance. You should have the person that's, upbeat and extroverted and energetic, and then you will also have the person who's more quiet, more more retrospect, just kind of more within themselves. Or if you have the creative person, or you have these groups of people or these different personality types in any friendship circle. So I felt bad for it. Yeah, it made me feel bad to know that just because someone is quiet or they're not contributing to the group in terms of being available for everything anymore, they're no longer considered part of the gang, part of the family, and these are long-term friendships that you've established. Like, I just thought that was, and I'm wondering, like, just on a whole, like, are we getting away from just understanding that there is more than just us? So of course, you as an individual should be taking care of yourself. There's people walking around, so if you see me kind of taking stock of my surroundings, it's normal reaction. I can't help it. quite quiet in here though. The window's calmed down a bit. Anyway, sorry, I got distracted there for a second. As I was saying, if you have a friend and you've had friends for a long time, people change. So they're not going to be the same way they were through primary school, into high school, into college, into university. Some people do kind of generally stay consistent and the same, but that's ingrained into who they are. But for the most part, we all go through growth and change of some kind. Some people realize that the only reason they were going along with certain activities before was to feel part of the group. But as they come into their own, like the individuality, they realize they don't want to participate in all of these activities anymore. You, as a friend who appreciated that side of them, where is the same kind of understanding that, oh, they used to do this to feel part of this? Like, okay, this is who they are, they're that kind of person. What are you now doing for them to let them feel like you want to be part of their world? And I don't see a lot of that happening anymore, which makes me sad. Friendship should always be a two-way street. Always, right? One day you're there for them, the next day they're there for you. And the rain doesn't fall on one side. So it rains, we both get wet. That kind of thing. A problem shared is a problem halved, and we can go on and on and on. A friend in need is a friend indeed. We can never forget these things. I just really would like to see more understanding for people who, like I said, are quiet, introverted, not necessarily wanting to do crowds and chaos. And then also people who want to engage intellectually. So they'll ask you a question because they're interested in other scenarios outside of the generic stuff. Everyone could say, oh, really nice, really nice post, or really nice picture, or really nice video. Anyone can say that. But if you have someone that goes, why did you make the choice you made? Why did you choose that location? Why is it lit this way? Why is it colored that way? Or what would have happened if such and such? They're engaging with you. It's not necessarily negative. In fact, a lot of the time it's not negative. And even if it were negative, that's an opportunity to have a conversation. You might learn something, they will learn something, we both come away learning something, and if it's on a public platform, then other people can see that exchange and learn something from that. And that's going to lead me into the thought of the day. Let me just grab the thought book 2 real quick and see what I can find. Find a random page. He does it again. I'll put a screenshot for this one up. But it's page 64 of the thought book 2. Damned if I do, and damned if I don't. So I do whatever I damn well want. This is classic me, isn't it? Goes without saying, but if you can't be yourself, who are you? And I do stand by these words. It's true. If you're not yourself, who are you? And like I said, I need to see more understanding for people who are being their genuine selves. Look to your left, look to your right, look within your friendship group, identify the person who might not be the most talkative, might not be the most sociable, and ask yourself, what have you ever done to accommodate that person? And if the answer is nothing, then well, really, you should be ashamed of yourself if you're a colleague or if you're friends. More importantly, if you're a boss, if you're a leader, what are you doing for these people? For the workplaces that have black women in them, it's not every person has to be this high energy, bouncy, high pitched voice type. It's just not realistic. Like, this is some TV stereotype that's being attached, and not all of us are loud, or all of us, I'm not a woman, but not all black women are loud and ghetto. It's just some of them just want to get on with the job and get home, collect that check and keep it moving, right? And again, it's not that they won't do your job properly, and it's not that they hate you or anything. They just don't want to do all of the extra stuff, right? You got to think about their workload and what they have to do. And a lot of the time, I feel like that's what goes into why they don't gossip as much and why they don't take part as much. They got their stuff to take care of. And if they don't take care of their stuff, what's the criticism then? That they're lazy, or they don't contribute as much, or if they do kind of take part, you then call them aggressive and you say this and that about them. And some people just don't want the ag. So think about this, right? For the people who are engaging with your content and who have questions and who genuinely want to know things, or they're pointing out something that it might not have been as good as it could have been, or they don't understand it as well as everyone else. Like, don't just write them off and brush them off. Like, actually engage with them and see if you can if you can reach a common ground. Of course, there are trolls out there, but if this is someone you know and you've had, communication with before, they're not trolling you. I would think that's obvious. So yeah, I think I've spoken for well over 10 minutes now, so I'm gonna shut this down. Right, really, I'm gonna go now. J Mullings, Written Mirror. I'm out.